Oh, yeah, it's that time again. It is Thankful Thursday. I love Thursdays. I look forward to this time sharing with you on Live Beyond Default live stream. Well, wait a minute here. Let a few more people hop on. And boy, it has been super rainy in the Chicagoland area. And it's also been super warm. Now, somebody asked me yesterday, is it global warming? I said, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I will tell you, though, that it's warmer than when I was a kid. There's less snow than when I was a kid. And it's also windier than when I was a kid. So take that for what it is. I don't know the reasoning behind it. I just know what is. And I also know that what is this live stream. So let's kick this off here with a quote. Sometimes we are failing so slowly, we think we are succeeding. That's Gary Keller from Keller Williams. And on that note, welcome to this episode of Live Beyond Default live stream. It's your weekly dose of personal growth. My name is Dave. I'm your host, Chicagoland Realtor and trusted resource. You can listen live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and of course, catch the replay on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We are live from the loft in downtown Arlington Heights with episode number 97. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, whether it's the replay or you're watching live. We are all growth-minded, self-reflective entrepreneurs, employees, parents, and those who want to live beyond default. All right, so we always like to start off with gratitude. So why don't we do that here? Drop something in the chat that you're grateful for. I have a lot of people that I want to share a little bit of gratitude with. First of all, I want to congratulate Nate and Tiaja for their beautiful baby girl. How wonderful is that? And I get to be a godfather again, so that's awesome. I want to thank, the list is so long. I want to thank my parents for being so kind to me while I was at our second family home as we just sold it in North Scottsdale, Arizona. Not just for being kind to me, like for just still being parents. I really appreciated that they're still being my parents, even at 80 years old. I want to thank Jimmy for all the encouragement to do better. I want to thank Stephanie for teaching me Claude. I want to thank Radka for being there when I'm not so kind, or let's just say the whatever side is coming out of me when I get frustrated with things. Thank you for being there with me. And also thank you for being there when I'm staging and prepping homes to be listed. So much good news, so much gratitude that we could all share. Drop your gratitude in the chat and we're going to start off. You don't get pulled over because you didn't see the sign. You get pulled over because you didn't respect it. What are you seeing right now in your life, but not respecting? You already know what to do. You're just not doing it. And this is not about learning something new today. In fact, I want to thank Dusty for being awesome and being very, let's say, growth-minded and a disruptor in the real estate world by keeping us on path with our mindset and our KPIs and our weekly calls. So this is nothing about learning new. This is about doing what you already know. And that's how we live beyond default. So the problem really is not awareness. We're aware of all these signs around us every single day, although with all the distractions out there, we might not be aware of some of them. That's a whole nother story, and we've talked about that before. The problem really isn't awareness. The problem is obedience. You know you should follow up more. You know you should be more consistent in your habits. You know there's a conversation that you need to have, probably a tough one. Maybe it's with a friend, maybe a colleague, maybe a client, maybe it's with your significant other, or maybe it's with yourself. How many of you out there know that there's a conversation that you need to have? I could think about 2 or 3 of them for me right now. You know you need to protect your time. Your time is your greatest asset. And if you're not protecting your time, where's it going? You see the signs, but you're rolling through them. We are all rolling through them. As I'm not here talking to you or at you, I am talking with you. So we all see these signs, but we keep rolling through them. What other signs do we have in front of us? Maybe it's that we know we need to let go of that relationship in our life. Maybe it's that we know we finally need to commit to our finances. Maybe we know that we're on social media too much and it's time to get off the scroll. It's time to stop the scroll and get back into our hearts. Or maybe it's we need to be with our kids more, present, away from our phones, watching, listening, and being with our kids. Point number 1 today is we all see the signs. And where are you rolling right now? Where are you rolling through these signs in your life? In your business, where are you rolling through the signs? In your relationships, where are you rolling through the signs? In your health, where are you rolling through the signs? In your finances, where are you rolling through the signs? So in our business, it could be that we have a client that's really taking a lot of our time and we're doing our best to serve them, but maybe it's just time to let them go. That could be where we're rolling. In a relationship, it could be every time we see somebody, we know that there's a conversation, or we know that there's something that's bothering us, or maybe that we were hurt by them, or maybe we said something hurtful to them. And every time we see them, there's that little bit of tension, right? How many of y'all have had that little bit of tension when you go up to somebody and you know there's not a beef, but just something in the background, like an open loop? Yeah. How about your health? Maybe your ankle or your knee doesn't feel very good. Maybe you haven't been running as much or taking that daily walk or going to the gym and lifting weights. Maybe you haven't been sleeping well and you've been tired and looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, oh, I don't look very good. I look tired. And how about your finances? It's so easy just to spend money with our debit cards and our credit cards and Venmo and Zelle and Apple Pay and our phones, and eventually with chips in our heads. Like, it's so easy to get lost in our finances. So let's ask ourselves, where are we rolling right now? What signs are we rolling through right now? We don't drift into these problems overnight. We roll into them slowly. Like Gary Keller said, sometimes we are failing so slowly that we think we are succeeding. Point number 2, slowing down is not the same as stopping. This is a tough one because a lot of times we feel like we're going to make progress or we took care of something because we're not doing it as much. Oh, we're not doing this as much, so it's not hurting me. It's not wasting my time. It's not hurting my relationship with my kids. It's not messing up things with the clients. But slowing down is not the same as stopping. Most of the time, we don't ignore these problems completely. We just partially address them. In fact, we put Band-Aids on a lot of these problems. All of us. I do the same thing. Have you ever said, oh, I'll fix it next week? I have. How about I'll get to it later when there's time? We all have 168 hours in the week and 24 hours of a day. How about, I don't have the time right now? That's more of a priority focus or a lack of priority focus, which we all have at times, especially in this world of distractions. Partial attention creates full consequences. Partial attention creates full consequences. Now, everything has a consequence to it. And we talk about this on a regular basis. Consequence could be good, consequence could be bad. You don't need to slow down. We don't need to slow down with something. We need to stop and fix it. And boy, just even talking about this and prepping for this earlier in the week really brought up a list of things. I've got a whiteboard in my office, live from the loft in downtown Arlington. And it's a 4-foot by 6-foot. So I've got a lot of room to write things down. And let me tell you, sometimes that stop and fix it column gets to be pretty long. And it definitely goes through cycles, like we all go through cycles in our life. We need to stop and fix it. Kat, thanks for joining us on the show today. It's great to see you. And Olukami, yes. Hello, my friend. I appreciate you hopping on. I think I know you from LinkedIn, but now on Facebook too. And if you're just joining us, we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course, you could catch the replay on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Good morning, Alicia. Alicia is such a ray of light, just like Kat and Olukami. It's like we have all these rays of sunshine on the show, and we're going to keep diving in. So thank you for hopping on. Oh, and I also want to thank the Illinois Noise Playbook. If you haven't checked them out, just Google Illinois Noise Playbook. They've got an awesome YouTube channel with some really, really great and amazing guests that I've been watching, and I highly recommend that. So, point number 2, slowing down is not the same as stopping. Let's get to point number 3. What is the cost of not stopping? What is the habit or behavior that you need to stop? For me, I'll be open, as I usually am, as I always am on this show. What behavior do I need to stop? At times it's procrastinating. Now I've gotten a lot better because I've connected more with my vision and my purpose. So I am not pushing myself to do something or grinding. It's coming from a place of a passion and abundance and being pulled by what I love to do. But there are still things that I procrastinate on. So that's a behavior that I need to stop. Oh, here's a behavior I need to stop, is saying, does that make sense? That is starting to annoy me more and more. Somebody used to say that to me years ago, somebody who's dear to me. And recently I've been hearing it and thinking, boy, it just doesn't sound very good. So when it comes to language patterns, there's a lot of behaviors, I believe, that we could level up or stop. And it's not adjusting these behaviors. It's not managing them. It's just stopping them. If we're scrolling too long on social media, now we're going to start time managementing on social media. Or if we're out of control with our spending, whether it's on going out to eat or concerts or going out to the bars or whatever our craziness is that we're doing, are we adjusting these things, or do we really need to stop these things? Because if we don't stop these things, there's a huge, huge cost. Here's the consequences. We have missed opportunities. This could be missed opportunities in business. It could be in relationships. It could be a missed opportunity for yourself and what's ahead in 2026. Let's think about our reticular activation system. So it's going to focus on what we think about and talk about the most. And if we're not stopping thinking about or talking about certain things just because they feel good, then we might miss an opportunity because our reticular activation system is not going to see the opportunity in front of us. It could be lost income. Now, that's a big one. Whether you're a W-2 employee, you could be missing the opportunity for a promotion, a raise, or maybe another job opportunity. If you're in sales like me, real estate, it could be the missed opportunity for a client, or it could be an opportunity in your business to grow in a different way. That's lost income. Ooh, here's one that's really, really tough and a really, really big one. If you don't stop, the cost could be broken trust. Whew. Let's think about broken trust for a while. Raise your hand if you think you've broken trust with someone in the last year or even just this year. Yeah, I might have too. And the challenging thing about trust is it takes a long time. It takes many deposits in that bank to build the trust. And then one mistake, all that currency just goes and your trust is gone. And it's so hard to rebuild that trust back. Where are we where have we broken trust? How about strained relationships? Yeah, we go to those family parties, we go to those business meetings, we meet with a client, and maybe we haven't been open and honest. Maybe there's something we need to stop doing, and there's that strained relationship. Strained relationships are hard. It just feels funny when you're with that person. Yeah, I don't like how that feels. How about self-induced stress? You know, stress is still such a killer in our society. And you would think that with all of these opportunities to meditate, yoga, exercise, taking walks outside, breath work, right? Wim Hof breathing exercises, drinking water, eating the foods that we know are going to nourish our mind, our body, and our soul. Self-induced stress is big. And how many of us put that stress on ourselves when it's not really even there? I know I do at times. And it's interesting because a lot of us, my age, or people that we know, like, we're not dying from old age. We're just dropping dead. And I say that because it's the truth. And I say that with this look in my eyes, like, that's the reality we got to face. Is a lot of us, a lot of people we know are just dropping dead in their 40s and 50s, where you never would think they would. You never think anything would happen to them by how they look or how they act. But because of that self-induced stress, it's a challenge. I'm going to raise my hand on that one. How many of us bring on self-induced stress? How about this? If you don't stop a certain habit or behavior, what about the impact that has on your kids? You might miss your kids' first crawl. You might miss your kids' first word, first steps, that first ride on a bike because you're looking somewhere else or you're looking down at your phone. I remember teaching my brother how to drink from a straw. I was born when my brother was born when I was 11, and it's such a cool memory of mine to be there and teaching him. You know, I was using his straw, and he was kind of looking at me and being curious, and maybe he made a noise or put up his hand or something. And I remember handing him the straw with something to drink and like showing him how to vacuum, right? And it was so funny and so fun and such a fond memory in my life. Now, I didn't have a mini supercomputer in my hand at that time. There were not all these distractions back in the day. So it was pretty easy. Not easy, it was easier to pay attention. Think about the investment opportunity or the relationship opportunity or one of those few last opportunities we have with our parents as they're aging. Think about all those missed opportunities we may have because we're not stopping a certain habit or behavior. Brandon, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you being on, and so happy for you and your new career. It's rolling well. I know you're doing great. You're hitting your KPIs, and they're lucky to have you. So remember, the sign is not there to punish you. The sign is there to protect you. That's a big thing. We're not talking about this to get uncomfortable, to punish us. We're talking about these things to protect us. And I was on a listing strategy 2 days this past weekend, and I was sharing with my clients and the family that there's going to be pain either way. Either pain now or pain later. Choose your pain and choose when you want to have it. Let's go through it now. Let's declutter that home. Let's fix these 3 or 4 things that need to be fixed. Let's go through the pain of prepping your home to list so we don't have that pain later after we list, while we're in contract and getting to close. So the sign is not there to punish you. It's there to protect you. Okay, so we've gone through the first 3 signs of the first 3 points of obeying the sign. Number 1, we all see the signs. Number 2, slowing down is not the same as stopping. And number 3, the cost of not stopping. Now, point 4, a full stop changes everything. There's nothing going on in our lives right now that a full stop wouldn't help. Think about that. We can go back after listening to this show or watching it, and we can write down, whiteboard, or put in your Apple Notes or dictate it into Claude. All the things that are going on in your life, being honest with ourselves, taking an inventory, and really having a heart-to-heart with ourselves about what of those would we want to stop? What of those, if we would stop, would really change the trajectory of our lives, personally, professionally, with our relationships and our finances, with our relationship to God or a higher power? Yeah. Look at your numbers. Look at your numbers, whether it's stepping on the scale. I know that's not easy to do. Whether it's your monthly finances, whether it's the people you surround yourself, the top 10 or 20 people you surround yourself with. And are they the people you really want to be around? So start by looking at your numbers. Then let's look at our calendars. Oh, this is a great one. You can tell the priorities of somebody by looking at 2 things: their bank account and their calendars. And that's big. Let's really, really hold on to that one. Take a look at your calendar, and I suggest whether you use Outlook or you use Google, color code what's important to you so you could see during the week what time you're spending on things that you need to stop and where you need to flip the screen and invest your time in other areas. So we're going to stop spending our time in certain areas, and we're going to invest our time in other areas that bring us growth and happiness and ultimately fulfillment, leaving the world better than we found it. So look at your calendar. Have that hard conversation. Having that hard conversation could start with talking to yourself. I did that recently in my business, and in my fitness and my finance. I had a hard conversation with myself, and I was honest with myself of where I was at. Because if we don't know where we're at, if we're not honest where we're at, then we don't know where to start so we could get to where we want to be. So look at it this way. If you haven't been to the gym for a while and all of a sudden now you're running 5 miles, or you want to throw up 200 pounds on the bench press, it's probably not going to happen. So having that hard conversation with yourself really is a positive. And having the hard conversation now, like I mentioned before, makes it easier later. Pick your hard. Hard now or hard later. For a lot of years of my life, I was living hard later. And 10, 11, 12 years ago, I flipped that. And I started going the other way and saying, you know what? I'm going to be the best version of myself. I'm going to live hard now and make it easier later. Make it more fulfilling later. So have that hard conversation with yourself. And lastly, let's reset our standards. We talked about this before. We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our standards. These are very repetitive sequences that we discuss here on Live Beyond Default live stream, because so much we already know, but it's just a reminder to you and to me of what's important and how we can get back on path for what's important. So we could be there for our kids. So we could be there for our parents when they're aging. We could be there for our clients who are trusting us and our colleagues. And we could be there for ourselves. So let's reset our standards. Always let's be raising our standards. And I'm going to challenge everybody to do these 4 things, to look at your numbers, to look at your calendar, to have the hard conversations, and to reset your standards. Those 4 things alone will just bring awareness to all of us. It will be painful maybe to see or to believe or to accept. Once we do that, things change. We start waking up in the morning and we want to get out of bed. How many of us don't want to get out of bed sometimes, right? It happens, especially when it's cold here in Chicagoland and it's warm under the covers or it's raining outside. Yeah. So let's remind ourselves that a full stop is not failure. It's wisdom. You're learning about yourself. We're learning about others around us. And in real estate, I see this constantly. People, buyers, sellers, other agents know what needs to be done. I know what needs to be done. But sometimes we delay. Sometimes we wait. Sometimes we roll through. It's one thing I love about real estate is applying the personal development and personal growth that I've learned over the years into that world, into that arena to assist buyers and sellers and those that really don't know and sometimes are scared about these processes. But more importantly, it applies to everything in life. It costs buyers and sellers time, money, and opportunity, and the same with agents. And remember, the clients, your clients, my clients who win are the ones who act when the sign shows up. And that is something that I've challenged myself a lot, because when these signs show up, how often are we really responding to the sign? How often are we really obeying the sign? How often are we really respecting the sign when they show up? So the same is true in all of our lives. It's time to stop living in disorder. It's time for us to start respecting the signs. Because when we do the work, it works. And that's how we all live beyond default. So I've got a final question for everybody here that I want to take away, and I'm going to be thinking about this too. What sign have you been seeing that you need to act upon today? Just one sign. Doesn't have to be a big one. What one sign have you been seeing that you need to act upon today? That's going to be our challenge for this week. That's going to be our homework for this week. And that's how we're going to live beyond default. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Live Beyond Default Livestream, episode number 97, live from the loft in downtown Arlington Heights. We're in springtime. Mother's Day is coming up. Farmers markets are happening. Arlington Al Fresco is starting up where the streets get shut down. Downtown Arlington is hot, hot, hot in the summer always. So come on out and visit. Let's have a good time. Let's make it a great year. And remember, most importantly, just be kind to yourself and hold yourself to a higher standard. Thank you so much. Make it a great day, and we'll see y'all soon.